All right, good afternoon. We are on PO7, so this is a power objective, one of those objectives that you must pass. Math builds on itself. This is important to know. I can compare and order rational numbers. Remember, rational numbers can be positive or negative. They can be a fraction. They can be a decimal that repeats or ends. So we're comparing any of those rational numbers. There are many methods we can use to compare and order rational numbers, but first we're just going to review our comparing symbols. So our first symbol, who can tell me what that means? What does a symbol that looks like that mean? Emmett.
The one on the right is bigger.
It does mean that the number on the right is bigger. So when we see these symbols, we read from left to right. So that number on the left is going to be less than, because we read from left to right, so we're going to say less than. So that is our less than symbol. So then what does this symbol mean? Audrey, greater than. So it's always going to be the open-ended side gobbling up the bigger number. The open side always wants to eat the bigger number. It wants to gobble it up. But we have to read from left to right. So reading from left to right, if it has the point, it means it's less than. If it has the open-ended side, it means it's getting gobbled up. It is greater than. And our last one is an easy one. What is it? Equal to. So you have to really think through if our numbers are equal to each other. Sometimes you might see decimal points like this. They are equal to each other because it's just those zeros tacked on to the end, so it is equal to. So you need to be careful with that equal to. You want to make sure they are the same value. Here are some things to try when comparing the values of rational numbers. 1, convert your values to the same form. So put them all as fractions or all as decimals. It's going to be easier to compare them if they're the same type of number. Number 2, integers. Compare using a number line. We've got our 0. So think about that number line. We've got a 0. The farther you go to the right, the bigger the number. The farther you're going to the left, the smaller the number. So think about where it falls on that number line. So this is going to be greater. This would be less. So if it's on the left side, it's going to be less than. If it's on the right side, it's going to be greater than. So think about that when you're comparing. Fractions, compare your values to 0, a half, or 1. Our example is 7/12 and 4/11. Don't always have to find that common denominator. Okay, sometimes you can just look at it and compare it to that 0, half, or 1. 7/12 is just bigger than a half. 4/11, half of 11 is 5.5. It's less than a half. So just by looking at it, I know that 7/12 is greater than 4/11 because I'm comparing it to where is it closer to 0, is it closer to a half, is it closer to 1. They're on different sides of the half, so I don't have to go through all the work of finding that common denominator. Can you find the common denominator and compare them? Yes, definitely can. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. Fractions, use equivalent fractions to get common denominators and compare the numerators. So sometimes it's not easy to know if, so let's look at this. 7/8 and 3/4, they're both bigger than half. Okay, sometimes you have to put it as the same common denominator. So a lot of times this trick will work, but sometimes we need to get that common denominator to really see which one is greater and which one is less. So sometimes this trick works. If that trick doesn't work, then you need a common denominator. Decimals. Stack your decimals. Add zeros to fill out empty digits. Compare the digits in the columns from left to right. So let's say we have 0.341, 0.314, 0.352. Stacking your decimals means you're lining up your decimal points. And then we're going to start looking at our place values. These ones are all zeros in the ones place. So now I'm going to look at my tenths place. They're all threes. So now I'm going to move over to my hundredths place. My smallest number here is a 1. So that is my least decimal, my smallest decimal. Then I look and see, okay, I've got a 4 and a 5. My next number will be this, and then this one is my greatest number. So you can stack those decimals and compare that place value. If you have ties like we had here, you go to the next place value. Stacking decimals is an easy way to order your decimals. Do not just look at how far away the denominator is from the numerator. 2/5 is very different from 37/40, even though they're both 3 away from our denominator. 2 is 3 away from 5. 37 is 3 away from 40. But oh goodness, 2/5, that's less than a half. Is 37/40 less than a half?
No. Less than 1.
Yeah. So you need to really think about what to do with those fractions up here. Don't just say, oh, it's close to my denominator. It's 3 away from the denominator. You have to really compare it. Any questions on this? I went through it kind of fast, but a lot of us are kind of going, oh yeah, I remember this. Hugo?
Like, if it's just something we can, like, easily, do you have to show work or anything?
Good question. So sometimes we can just look at it and know our answer. So -7 to -10. If you know it, just put in the symbol. Okay?
But if you don't know it, then you have to.
If you don't know it, draw your number line and compare it. Okay? Just look at the number line.
We have to do a number line, or can we do any method?
You can do it. Order the integers from least to greatest. Again, look at that number line. Those negative numbers really confuse people because sometimes people say, oh, -12 is bigger than -8. 12 is greater than 8. Not when there's that negative sign. That's why we did that Khan Academy with the negative numbers. So really think about where it falls on the number line. If it's farther to the left, it's going to be a smaller number. Our second page. Comparing our decimals, putting in your symbols, and then ordering our decimals. Use that stacking, pencils down. Using that stacking method if needed, pencils down. Sometimes we get so excited knowing what to do that we forget to listen to directions. Fractions, this one you'll notice, Hugo, this one says show your work. So when you get to the fractions, you have to show your work. How did you find that answer? And then order your fractions or decimals or a combination of them. Okay? So on the fractions part, you do need to show your work. The rest of it, thank you for keeping pencils down, friends. Okay? Questions on the assignment today? I went a little fast, but I think we're comfortable with this information. Did I go too fast?
No.
Okay. If you have questions, come see me. For my friends at home that are watching, we hope you're well and we hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.